earliest memories were just, throwing the ball with my family around the house, whether it be just, throwing the ball against the wall or hitting inside the house. I know it probably wasn't great, but my mom was always flipping me balls in the house or, just playing catch with me. And, having a brother that's 5 years older than me, I was able to watch him growing up for almost my whole life. So I don't remember this part, but, as soon as I could stand, my parents said I was hanging on the fence, just being able to watch my brother really interact. I don't know if I was watching it more for the baseball or more for him. I think a little bit of both, but he really had a big impact on just my love for the game and the ability to start playing at such a young age. And even at the age of 3, I believe, all I wanted was catcher's gear for Christmas. So there's a pretty cute pic of me, 3 years old, all suited up in catcher's gear. There's nothing more I wanted. So it was awesome.
So you've always known you wanted to be a catcher?
I'd say so. For the most part, my brother was a catcher.
Oh, okay.
So that's really what added to it was he was a catcher. I was watching him, and then, just like him, I wanted to be following his footsteps, be just like him.
Awesome. So then ever since like you said, your earliest memories to then you get to high school and you're taking baseball, like I'm safe to assume you've taken baseball seriously your whole life, but then just getting to high school and just that whole experience, like with you getting recruited and everything, what was that all like for you?
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, you have high school baseball, you have travel baseball. I played on a lot of different travel teams, ended up with the Dallas Tigers for the most part. And, traveling around, we would go to Jupiter, we'd go to Fort Myers, Houston, Dallas, all around just playing. And, there's teams out at everything. And with COVID, it threw a wrench in the whole thing. I know everyone was kind of freaking out about that, but it ended up being all good. I decided on staying close, going to junior college. I thought it was the best decision for me. Just a lot of different decisions to be made, but it was great. Went and played for Dusty Hart at Grayson, which ultimately led me going to Blin as well. And recruiting, if anyone says the recruiting process is super easy, I mean, that's great, but it's usually pretty difficult.
And Blin is where you had like a pretty great year. And also your teammate, Marshall Lipsey, was at Blin with you. And then you guys made that run to the JUCO World Series. So just from being at Blin with him to then fast forward, coming to FAU with him again, how's that all been?
He's a great kid, and, Texas born and raised again. So he's a hard worker. He cares a lot about the game, and it's really been awesome to, play with him then, have such a great run. And I mean, that was the best experience ever, being able to go to the JUCO World Series and whatnot. And then fast forward now, I mean, he was a big part of, getting me here, and I've really enjoyed getting to spend time with him. We live close by here in Boca, so spend a lot of time together, always going to hit and just spend time together. It's been awesome.
Awesome. So he came here before you did, or you guys came in together kind of?
He came last year, so this is his second year.
Okay,
That's my
cool.
first year at FAU.
Oh, okay, sweet. What was that like knowing that you guys were going to be reunited? Because it seems to be that you guys had a pretty good bond at Blin.
Yeah, for sure. He was the first guy I called when I was, considering FAU, and just wanted to get his mind on what it's like living down here, what it's like playing for FAU, and everything about it. And he was a big resource for me for understanding everything.
So just anyone who may be considering junior college or is on the fence about it, what would you have to say to anyone who's maybe has like a false repertoire of JUCOs?
I think junior college was one of the best decisions I ever made. And, going and being able to play all the time, I think is a big thing. If you're riding the bench and not getting to play, you're never going to get better. And that's one thing about junior college is you're always going to play. We play a full fall season, play a bunch of games, and then same thing with the spring. You're playing a bunch of games, a lot of opportunity to get on the field, get better, and just really learn who you are as a player. I mean, I think that's a big thing. If you're not playing, you don't have those opportunities, it's hard for you to really understand, what your game's like, what your goals are if you really love it that much. And I think you got to really love it to play through a couple of junior college seasons. But for anyone who's thinking about junior college, I mean, I think it's a great decision. Nothing you're going to regret ever.
And then considering also you've gone from college to college, which means having to, besides Marshall, adjust to new teammates throughout all of those years. Would you say that was an easy adjustment to make or more of a difficult one?
Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty social, but in baseball, you're just always meeting new people, it seems like. Even if it's summer baseball, you go play with guys for a couple months, in a summer league, and you might get really close to a few of them, and then it's like, boom, you might not ever see them again. So it's difficult trying to keep those bonds with some different guys. I still keep up with a lot of guys from Grayson and Blin, and just keeping up with the guys you meet along the way is crazy. But you meet so many people. Baseball's brought so many people into my life, which is just a huge blessing to have.
Right.
I've had host families that have been a huge blessing in my life. I've had teammates, coaches, people that I keep in contact with all the time that have just really, affected my baseball career for the better and have just been a big part of my life. So I'm super grateful for all the people I've met throughout my entire career. And, coming here was just another opportunity to meet more people and, a new coaching staff, a new part of the country. I've met a bunch of people in Boca and just around the area, and it's been truly a blessing just to understand a whole other group of people.
Right. I'm glad you said host families because I actually learned about this the other day. For anyone who doesn't know what a host family is, why don't you tell them? Because I just think like you having to stay with like another like random family in their house while they're coexisting with you at the same, like just tell the camera like what it basically is, like what it all means.
Well, I mean, host families are an absolute blessing to begin with. I think that anybody who's opening their house up for a stranger to come live with for whether it's a week or a month or a couple months is an amazing person. So been very fortunate to have 3 host families that I like to call family and are some of the, big impact on my career, from making me food, maybe driving me around, making sure I have everything I need. I've had 2 in Wisconsin and 1 in New Mexico.
Was that for summer ball?
Summer ball and the JUCO World Series was in New Mexico, so that was only about a week. We go out there, just play the tournament, and they put everybody with host families. So spent a week out there with a host family who, had 2 young boys that we were just playing with, Nerf guns, everything. It's pretty cool to get submerged into a family and just really understand what their life is, and they're so invested into you, and they want to do everything to better your career, make your experience the best. And I mean, ultimately, I think they did everything for me that made my experience so much better. It was incredible.
It's such a cool concept. I think it's just so like unique.
They definitely made a lot of sacrifice, and I mean, it's so cool to talk about just truly like a family component. It seems like I've now made with them. I still talk to my host parents, or I've had kids in the house, and I still keep up with a few of the boys that are just like love hearing about my career, and now we're in college, believe it or not, that I got to stay with 3-4 years ago that just seemed younger and were so invested into what I was doing. And now that they're like a friend, and they're going to remain a friend and like almost like a brother, just continuing to talk with them, and it's so unique. But yeah, like I said, they've made a huge impact, and it is really interesting to go live with somebody for 2 months that you've never met before. Walking in that first day,
It's kind of scary.
it's a little scary, but I'll tell you what, I've had host families come down to see me play, a year or 2 later. Like I said, I keep up with them on the phone, send them photos. They want to know what I'm up to still. So they're a huge blessing. So shout out to all my host families that have taken care of me and I consider family.
When everything's all said and done and you hang up that FAU jersey for the last time, how do you want to be remembered as both a player and as a person?
I want to be remembered as the guy who gave it all. Who gave it all for the game and for the team, and just always wanted to win. Also the guy who just worked hard and was there for one another, was a great teammate, cared about his brother, his teammate, made an impact in other people's lives. I think that's ultimately the thing that lives on longer past the game of baseball. The stats and everything, no one's going to remember down the line, but ultimately being a great teammate, a guy who shows up and is there for his brother, there for his teammate, shows him love, and just picks him up when they're down, and then has fun with them, and spends a lot of time together. I think that's the ultimate thing that people are going to remember, and what I want to be remembered for is just being around, being a great teammate.